The signal from the stars. The message arrived on a Tuesday morning at 0347 GMT, detected simultaneously by radio telescopes across Earth. Dr. Lisa Park, the night shift supervisor at the Arecibo Successor Array, stared at her screens in disbelief, as the clearly artificial signal repeated every 37 seconds. "This is not a drill," she whispered into her headset, her hands trembling as she initiated the first contact protocols that had been theoretical until this moment. "We have confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence." The signal was elegant in its simplicity. Mathematical sequences, it proved intelligence, followed by star charts showing the sender's location 47 light-years away. Within hours, the message had been decoded by teams across the globe. The aliens called themselves the Harmony Collective, and they were coming to Earth. President Chun called an emergency session of the Global Defense Council as news of the contact spread through classified channels. In the secure briefing room beneath the White House, military leaders and scientists gathered around holographic displays showing the alien message. "How long until they arrive?" asked General Stone, his weathered face grave with concern. Dr. Park, now serving as the scientific liaison, consulted her calculations. Based on their stated travel speed, approximately 6 months. They're using some form of faster-than-light propulsion we don't understand. The implications hit everyone in this room simultaneously. Humanity's first contact with alien intelligence would not be a peaceful radio exchange spanning decades. These beings were already traveling toward Earth, expecting to meet a species they assumed would welcome them with open arms. Admiral Drake, commander of Earth's orbital defense platforms, studied tactical projections with growing unease. "What do we know about their capabilities?" "Their message indicates they travel in what they call harmony ships," Dr. Park replied. "They speak of bringing peace and unity to young species like ourselves. They seem to view themselves as benevolent guides for developing civilizations." General Stone's expression darkened. Throughout human history, whenever a technologically advanced group claimed to bring guidance to a less developed people, the results were rarely beneficial for the guided. "How large is their fleet?" "Unknown," Dr. Park admitted. "But their casual mention of uplifting multiple species suggests they have significant resources." The room fell silent as the weight of the situation settled on everyone present. Humanity faced first contact with a species that possessed faster-than-light travel, unknown weapons technology, and an apparent habit of improving other civilizations. Whether they wanted improvement or not, President Chun made the decision that would define humanity's future. "Admiral Drake, what's the status of Project Doomsday?" Drake's eyes widened. Project Doomsday was Earth's most classified military program, a weapon system so powerful that its very existence was known only to a handful of people. "The Ragnarok is 96% complete, sir. We could have it operational within 3 months if we push the final testing phases." "Do it," Sean ordered. "If these aliens are truly peaceful, they'll understand our caution. If they're not..." He left the sentence unfinished. The Ragnarok had been conceived during the dark days of the Third World War, when humanity nearly destroyed itself with conventional weapons. Scientists and engineers had asked a terrible question. What if we needed to destroy something much larger than a city or even a continent? What if we needed to eliminate a threat to all human life? The answer was a ship unlike anything ever built. Officially, it was listed as a deep space research vessel in budget documents. In reality, the Ragnarok was a dreadnought designed around a single purpose: complete annihilation of any threat to Earth. Captain Nax Rodriguez had commanded the Ragnarok through its construction and testing phases. His ship measured 8 kilometers in length, bristling with experimental weapons that pushed the boundaries of known physics. The vessel's primary armament could crack a moon, while its defensive systems were designed to survive anything short of a direct stellar collision. Sir, his tactical officer reported during the final systems check, all weapons arrays are showing green. The main cannon is calibrated and ready. Shall we begin the approach to the rendezvous coordinates? Max nodded grimly. The plan was simple in its audacity. When the aliens arrived expecting to meet a primitive species ready for guidance, they would instead encounter the most dangerous warship humanity could build. The message would be clear. Earth was not defenseless, and humans were not sheep waiting for shepherds. Set course for the outer system, Max ordered, and transmit our response to the Harmony Collective. Tell them humanity appreciates their interest in our species, but we prefer to handle our own development. If they insist on visiting, they'll find us ready to discuss the matter. As the Ragnarok powered up its engines and began its journey to the edge of human space, Earth held its breath. First contact was coming whether humanity wanted it or not. But the aliens would discover that sometimes the species they planned to guide had already learned to bare their teeth. The Harmony Collective arrived 6 months later. The Harmony Collective's fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Their ships were beautiful in an alien way-flowing curves of white metal that seemed to pulse with internal light. The lead vessel, magnificent in its graceful design, broadcast greetings in dozens of human languages. People of Earth, the message began in perfect English. We are the Harmony Collective, shepherds of peace among the stars. We have come to welcome your species into the greater galactic community and guide your development toward universal harmony. Captain Vell, commander of the Collective's expedition, reviewed his species files on humanity with satisfaction. The humans were young, having only recently discovered nuclear energy and primitive spaceflight. They would be easy to guide into proper civilization, just like the dozens of other species the Collective had already enlightened. Begin standard integration protocols, Vell ordered his crew. Deploy the Harmony fields around their primary world. Once their aggressive impulses are suppressed, we can begin proper education about their place in the galaxy. The Collective's ships moved deeper into the solar system with serene confidence. They had performed this ritual countless times before. Young species always resisted guidance initially, but the Harmony fields would calm their primitive fears and make them receptive to wisdom. But as they approached Mars' orbit, something appeared on their sensors that had never been there during their previous uplifting missions. A single ship emerged from behind one of the red planet's moons, moving to intercept their fleet. What is that monstrosity? Gasped Vell's science officer as their sensors struggled to catalog the human vessel. Ship was wrong in every way that mattered to Collective aesthetics. Where their vessels flowed like artistic sculptures, this thing was angular and brutal. Where they built for beauty and harmony, this ship existed solely for destruction. It bristled with weapon systems that radiated barely controlled violence. Sir, the tactical officer reported with growing alarm that vessel mass is approximately 50 times our largest ship. Its energy output exceeds our entire fleet combined. And those weapon signatures, ... Vell stared at the readings in disbelief. Primitive humans had built something that looked like it could fight stellar battleships. How was this possible? Their intelligence reports showed a species barely capable of orbital flight. Captain Max. Rodriguez smiled grimly as he watched the alien ships react to the Ragnarok's appearance. His vessel had been designed to impress through sheer overwhelming presence, and it was working perfectly. Sir, reported his communications officer, the aliens are requesting immediate conference. They seem ... concerned about our ship's capabilities. I bet they are, Max replied. Open a channel. The holographic display flickered to life, showing Captain Vell's shocked face. The alien looked vaguely humanoid, but with silvery skin and large eyes that currently showed unmistakable fear. Human vessel, Vel began, his voice carefully controlled. "We are here on a mission of peace. Your ship appears to be designed for warfare. This is concerning. Young species should not possess such destructive capabilities." Max leaned back in, his command chair projecting casual confidence. "Captain Vel, welcome to our solar system. We received your message about bringing harmony and guidance to our species. We appreciate the offer, but humanity has decided to decline." Vel's confusion was evident. Decline? "But we offer advancement, peace, integration into the galactic community. Why would you refuse such gifts?" "Because," Max replied, his voice hardening, "we've seen what happens when technologically advanced species offer to guide less developed ones. It never ends well for the guided. So we built this ship to make our position clear." The alien captain studied the tactical readings of the human dreadnought with growing unease. His harmony fields were designed to suppress aggression in primitive species, but this ship radiated controlled violence that suggested its builders had already mastered their aggressive impulses and weaponized them. "Surely we can reach an understanding," Vel said, his diplomatic training kicking in. "The collective has successfully guided 47 species to enlightenment. We know what is best for developing civilizations." Max's smile became predatory. "Captain, you've been guiding species that couldn't build ships like the Ragnarok. We're not your typical young civilization. We suggest you consider that fact very carefully before deciding how to proceed." As the two fleets faced each other across the void, Vel realized the Harmony Collective had encountered something unprecedented. A young species that had learned to build monsters specifically to keep shepherds away. The Collective's miscalculation, Captain Vel retreated to his private chambers aboard the Harmony ship Peaceful Dawn, his mind reeling from the encounter with the human dreadnought. In 47 previous uplift missions, no species had ever greeted the Collective with weapons of war. Young civilizations were supposed to be grateful for guidance, not hostile toward their betters. He activated his private communications array to contact the Collective's High Council on their distant homeworld. The response came within hours. Transmitted across vast distances by technology the humans couldn't even imagine. "High Counselor Bright," Vel said, bowing before the holographic image of his superior, "we have encountered an unusual situation. The humans have rejected our guidance and deployed a warship of unprecedented scale." High Counselor Bright studied the tactical data Vel had transmitted, her ancient features betraying surprise. 50 times the mass of our largest vessel? Energy weapons of this magnitude? How did such a primitive species develop these capabilities? "Unknown, Counselor," Vel admitted. "Our surveys showed they only achieved nuclear technology recently. Yet this ship suggests military engineering far beyond their supposed capabilities." Bright's expression hardened with the certainty that had guided the Collective for millennia. "They are clearly too dangerous to be allowed independent development. Deploy the Harmony fields immediately. Once their aggression is suppressed, we can determine how they built such weapons and ensure they never build them again." Vel nodded, though unease gnawed at him. The human ship's presence suggested a level of strategic thinking that troubled him. Why build a single massive vessel instead of many smaller ships? What did they know that the Collective had missed? On the Ragnarok, Captain Max watched his sensors track the alien ships as they began deploying some form of energy field around Earth. The readings were subtle, but unmistakable that aliens were attempting to influence human behavior on a planetary scale. "Sir," reported his science officer, Dr. Menia Cross, "we're detecting massive psionic emissions from the alien fleet. They appear to be broadcasting some form of neural suppression field toward Earth." Max's face darkened. This was exactly what humanity's strategists had feared. The aliens weren't offering peaceful cooperation. They were attempting to pacify Earth's population through technological mind control. "Time to show them why we built the Ragnarok," Max declared. All hands, battle stations. Charge the main cannon. Throughout the massive ship, crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their combat positions. The Ragnarok's primary weapon was humanity's greatest achievement in destructive engineering. Gravitational lance capable of tearing apart molecular bonds across vast distances. "Sir," reported Weapons Officer Kane, "main cannon charged and ready. Target locked on the lead alien vessel." Max opened communications to the collective fleet, his message broadcast on all frequencies. "Harmony collective ships, you are attempting to influence Earth's population without consent. Cease these activities immediately, or face the consequences." Captain Vell received the human ultimatum with disbelief. "They cannot seriously threaten us," he told his bridge crew. "Our shields are based on principles their species hasn't discovered. Their weapons cannot possibly." His words were cut off as the Ragnarok fired. The gravitational lance struck the peaceful dawn with the force of a collapsing star. The alien ship's elegant shields, designed to deflect energy weapons and kinetic projectiles, offered no protection against an attack that targeted the fundamental forces holding matter together. The Harmony ship simply ceased to exist, its atoms scattered across space in a brilliant flash that lit up the solar system. The surviving collective vessels recoiled in shock and terror. In their long history of uplifting young species, nothing had ever shot back. Their ships were designed for peaceful intervention, not warfare against monsters that could unmake matter itself. Retreat. All ships retreat. Vell's surviving deputy commander screamed across the fleet communications. "The humans have weapons that bypass our defenses." Doctor. Cross monitored the alien ships as they scrambled to escape Earth's vicinity. "Sir, they're powering up FTL drives. It looks like they're preparing to leave the system." Max nodded with grim satisfaction. "Good. Let them run back to their masters and explain what happened here. Maybe the collective will think twice before trying to guide another species without permission." As the alien ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, leaving only debris where their lead vessel had been, Max reflected on humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. It hadn't gone as anyone expected, but it had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Earth's children had learned to build monsters, specifically to keep unwanted shepherds away. The collective's response: the emergency session of the Harmony Collectives. High Council convened within hours of receiving Captain Vell's retreat transmission. On the crystal world of Serenity Prime, the most powerful beings in their corner of the galaxy struggled to comprehend what had happened at Earth. High Counselor Bright stood before the assembled council, her usually serene features twisted with rage and confusion. "In 3,000 years of bringing harmony to young species, we have never encountered resistance like this. The humans destroyed the peaceful dawn with a single shot." Elder Calm, the oldest member of the council, reviewed the tactical data with growing disbelief. "Their weapon appears to manipulate gravitational forces at the quantum level. This technology should be impossible for a species that only recently achieved spaceflight." The council chambers, normally filled with peaceful discussion, buzzed with angry voices demanding action. The collective had built their civilization on the principle that advanced species had a duty to guide primitive ones. The humans had rejected this fundamental truth and backed their rejection with devastating force. "We cannot allow this precedent," declared Counselor Peace, her voice sharp with indignation. "If other young species learn that they can resist guidance through violence, our entire civilizing mission will collapse." High Counselor Bright nodded grimly. "Agreed. Prepare the enforcement fleet. If the humans will not accept peaceful guidance, they must be forcibly pacified for the good of galactic harmony." The enforcement fleet was the collective's ultimate tool for dealing with truly dangerous species. Unlike the peaceful uplift vessels, these ships were built for war, beautiful, flowing weapons of overwhelming power that had never been defeated in combat. Admiral Grace of the enforcement fleet received her orders with cold satisfaction. Her species had spent millennia perfecting the art of benevolent conquest. The humans would learn, as others had before them, that resistance to harmony was futile. Deploy the 47th Battle Group, Grace commanded from her flagship Inevitable Peace. 200 ships should be sufficient to overwhelm whatever weapons the humans possess. On Earth, humanity's leaders watched the approaching collective armada with grim determination. Long-range sensors detected the massive fleet assembling at the edge of the solar system, ships that dwarfed even the Ragnarok in size and apparent technological sophistication. President Chun addressed the Global Defense Council from the emergency bunker beneath Mount Cheyenne. Ladies and gentlemen, our worst fears have been confirmed. The aliens are returning with a full military force. They intend to conquer us for our own good. General Stone studied tactical projections with the eye of a lifetime soldier. Mr. President, even the Ragnarok cannot fight 200 ships simultaneously. We need to consider other options. Captain Max Rodriguez disagreed from his position aboard humanity's lone dreadnought. Sir, with respect, the Ragnarok wasn't designed to fight fair. She was built to win through any means necessary. Max had studied every detail of his ship's capabilities during the 6 months since first contact. The Ragnarok carried more than just the gravitational lance that had destroyed the alien ship. Hidden within its massive hull were weapons that pushed the boundaries of human engineering and ethics. Dr. Cross, Max said to his science officer, status on the Nova mines? Dr. Nina Cross consulted her readings with obvious reluctance. Sir, all 50 devices are armed and ready for deployment. But I must remind you that using them would be monstrous, Max finished. Yes, Doctor, I'm aware. But the aliens are coming to enslave our species for our own good. Sometimes monsters are exactly what you need. The Nova mines were humanity's darkest creation, artificial singularities, contained in stealth platforms that could be remotely triggered to create localized space-time distortions. Each mine could destroy a ship the size of a small moon, but their use would also permanently damage the fabric of space-time itself. Admiral Grace led her fleet deeper into the solar system, confident in the overwhelming superiority of collective technology. Her ships had shields that could withstand stellar radiation, weapons that could sterilize planets, and crews trained in the art of peaceful conquest. Begin Harmony Field deployment, she ordered as Earth came into range. Once the human population is pacified, we can deal with their aberrant warship at leisure. But as the collective fleet approached Earth orbit, they detected something their sensors couldn't quite classify: faint gravitational anomalies scattered throughout the solar system, like seeds of destruction waiting to bloom. Humanity's monster. Warship hadn't come to fight fair. It had come to win, regardless of the cost to itself or the universe around it. Monsters and Consequences. The final battle for Earth began at 1427 GMT on a Tuesday, when Admiral Grace's enforcement fleet entered the inner solar system with confidence born of 3 millennia of unopposed conquest. Her 200 ships moved in perfect formation, their flowing hulls beautiful, even as they prepared to destroy human independence forever. Captain Max Rodriguez watched the approaching armada from the bridge of the Ragnarok, his face calm despite the impossible odds. His single ship faced an enemy force that outmassed it 50-1. But the Ragnarok had never been designed to fight by conventional rules. Dr. Cross, Max said quietly, activate the Nova mines. Throughout the solar system, 50 hidden singularities awakened to terrible purpose. The stealth platforms that had been deployed months earlier began their grim work, creating localized tiers in space-time that would soon bloom into instruments of absolute destruction. Admiral Grace detected the gravitational anomalies just as her lead ships crossed the orbital plane of Mars. What are those readings? She demanded, her serene confidence wavering for the first time. Her science officer studied the sensors with growing alarm. "Admiral, I'm detecting massive space-time distortions throughout the system. The humans have seeded the area with some form of exotic matter weapon." Grace felt the first stirring of real fear. The collective had encountered many technologies during their uplifting missions, but nothing that could manipulate the fundamental structure of reality itself. How is this possible? They're supposed to be primitives. Captain Max provided the answer in a transmission broadcast across all frequencies. "Admiral Grace, you made the same mistake every conqueror makes. You assumed that because we're young, we must be weak. But humanity learned long ago that survival sometimes requires becoming the monster others fear to face." The first Nova mine detonated as the collective vanguard reached Earth's orbit. The artificial singularity collapsed reality in a sphere 1 kilometer across, taking 3 Harmony ships with it into non-existence. The remaining vessels scattered in panic as they realized the humans had turned space itself into a weapon. "Fall. Back. All ships fall back." Grace screamed as more mines began their deadly countdown. But the exotic matter weapons were designed to prevent retreat as much as to destroy. Each detonation created gravitational eddies that trapped nearby ships in slowly spiraling death sentences. On Earth, President Chun watched the battle unfold with a mixture of triumph and horror. Humanity was winning, but at a cost that would haunt their species forever. The Nova mines didn't just destroy enemy ships. They permanently damaged the fabric of space-time, creating scars that would never fully heal. "Sir," reported General Stone, "the alien fleet is in full retreat. Estimated casualties: 147 ships destroyed, remainder fleeing toward the system edge." The victory was absolute, but Captain Max felt no satisfaction as he surveyed the aftermath. The solar system was littered with gravitational anomalies that would make space travel dangerous for centuries. Humanity had saved itself by becoming something that violated every principle of civilized warfare. Admiral Grace, aboard one of the few surviving collective ships, transmitted a final message as her fleet limped away from Earth. "The Harmony Collective will never forget this atrocity. You have shown yourselves to be exactly the kind of dangerous species that must be contained." Max's response was broadcast not just to the retreating aliens, but to any other species that might be listening across the galaxy. "Tell your masters what you found here. Tell them that humanity refuses to be guided, uplifted, or saved by anyone but ourselves. And tell them that we have worse weapons than the ones you've seen today." This last statement was true. The Ragnarok carried devices that made the Nova mines look like toys weapons that could crack planets, poison suns, or tear holes between dimensions. Humanity had spent decades preparing for the possibility that first contact would not be peaceful. As the alien survivors disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Earth's leaders faced a new reality. The galaxy now knew that humans existed, and that they were willing to commit atrocities to preserve their independence. The age of peaceful expansion among the stars was over before it had begun. Dr. Cross approached Captain Max as he stood on the observation deck, watching the slowly spreading gravitational distortions that marked where enemy ships had died. "Sir, was it worth it? Turning ourselves into monsters to stay free?" Max considered the question that would define humanity's future among the stars. They had won their independence through horrific means, earning a reputation that would precede them wherever they went. Other species would fear them, avoid them, maybe even try to destroy them before they could spread their monstrosity further. "Doctor," Max said finally, "freedom isn't free. Sometimes the price is becoming something you never wanted to be. But the alternative was slavery with a smile, and that's a price humanity was never willing to pay. The galaxy had learned to fear Earth's children, and that fear would be humanity's shield among the stars. Asterisk.